Hello, welcome to this update. So let's see what's happening around the Western Pacific, the Indian Ocean. We still have a lot of moisture and heavy rains there. In this area, 96W in the southern Philippines, with a high chance of formation the next 24 hours already. We have some more areas to watch. This uh, not won't form, but will bring some heavy rains to parts of India and Bangladesh. And this one, we'll keep an eye on it, but very low chance as well. So let's see some models. So there's the area there in the Philippines. This is the European model. Shows there it kind of forms into something, but then crosses the southern Philippines. We likely bring a lot of heavy rain the next few days. Then it shows it exiting the South China Sea, and not quite anything tropical, but it does try to form a low pressure there, but not not very organized. But it might become a tropical storm eventually. So let's see some different models here. So there's the GFS as well. It has the area there. There's already a low pressure there. So this might quickly spin up into something, but it shows it crossing the Philippines, more disorganized, and then it pulls an area of moisture down from Malaysia and joins with that area there and kind of forms into something. Not quite a tropical storm yet, but very close to it on the 24th. Then it does form a tropical storm there and dissipate. And it does try to bring another disturbance to the southern Philippines on the 29th. Now, there's the Canadian too, so it shows there the disturbance now, but it has very few time to form because you quickly go into the southern Philippines. But the Canadian does show it becoming a tropical storm in the South China Sea, maybe going into Vietnam. So that's a possibility to watch as well. There's the icon, shows the disturbance there now. It goes and then goes there throughout the Philippines, and it tries to form a tropical storm in the South China Sea, but struggles a little bit. So that's the icon. The NavGen shows like let's see a disturbance there now. Then it goes and tries to form the South China Sea into a tropical storm too, but just 1004 is not very strong. They'll be on the 24th, and then it lingers there in the South China Sea. So I think the main threat from this is like the heavy rain it will cause the southern Philippines and those areas. And so let's see if I put this until the 23rd, Monday, the European does show that heavy rain the eastern Philippines, even more than 200 millimeters in some areas there, 219, 393. So the Europeans very crazy in those areas. But it also shows in most of northern Malaysia in those areas close to like 134 the next 5 days. Some islands there, the South China Sea shows more than 150 millimeters in those islands the next 5 days. So be careful there. And further north, some other islands like Calayan and some other areas shows more than 254 millimeters as this from the southern Philippines exits into the South China Sea. So really be careful in those areas, the intense storms that might occur. And then it shows there in central Indonesia close to 225 millimeters, 255, 218, and like 186. So be careful in those areas. More central Indonesia in Kalimantan shows more than 100 millimeters in some areas there. And further south in Kalimantan, that doesn't show as much, but still shows some downpours there. And Java, in other parts, the southwestern Philippines, not Philippines, Indonesia, so shows more there than 100. And central Java, that doesn't show that much, but does show like southwestern Java, those areas more than 100 millimeters. So be careful there. And shows like 189 in some areas throughout Sumatra, more downpours, and even in northern Sumatra, some areas close to 117, and depending on the magnitude of the downpours, um, there might be more rain than it's showing here. For example, if you check the satellite and see those very big downpours happening right now, uh, there might be a lot of rain in a short time. Those storms there, they might cause more accumulation, so be careful in those storms. And here, so it shows as well in Vietnam from this season potentially there, and even before that already shows some heavy rain there, one more close to 100 meters, the eastern coast, and some more near easternmost Cambodia, but mainly in Vietnam, central to southern Vietnam, not so south, but central Vietnam, the heavy rain. So be careful those areas. And now the GFS in the Philippines, it doesn't show as much as the European, but it show close like 147, 161, and this might cause flooding there throughout the next 5 days. So be careful there. And Palau shows 21 millimeters, but it does show big accumulations the South China Sea as well, 191 millimeters. And some islands there 312, 233, 223. So be careful those areas there, like 132, and shows here like central northern Sumatra, those heavier downpours, more than 100 millimeters as well. Those areas of central Indonesia shows even close to like 390 millimeters, the GFS, and in Java as well. So be careful, especially with those big storms. Might have gusty winds and lightning as well. So be careful in those areas. Now the icon has like in the Philippines as well, has some downpours from the southern Philippines, but most of the models have the worst around the eastern Philippines, more than 200 millimeters around the eastern Philippines, and more there some spots in the central Philippines, like 138, 142. So be careful, and especially the South China Sea, 215, 212. So stay safe in those areas. But now back to the European. If I just put this until Saturday, shows less, of course, like in the next 3 days, but already shows a lot the South China Sea and some parts of Indonesia and the eastern Philippines, more than 100 already the next 3 days. Until Friday, next 2 days, already shows heavier in some parts of the Philippines, but not really that much. But the next 5 days shows much more than. So be careful. And around India as well, shows like 130 millimeters across eastern India from this system lingering in the Bay of Bengal. So be careful. It does show more than 100 millimeters back into Bangladesh as well. So be aware there too. And like southeastern India does show some more there, but nothing that crazy. So be careful. Shows in the Maldives too, close to 97, 76, some 84 millimeters the next 5 days. So a lot of lingering tropical moisture there. And some thunderstorms, so be careful. Sri Lanka, a downpour or two, and some passing showers in Seabreeze Village. And the Seychelles, there's a big area of moisture there. Be careful in Victoria, some areas close to 100 millimeters until the 23rd, but just until Friday, already shows 100 millimeters next 2 days. Until tomorrow, already shows 74 millimeters. The GFS to 27 and the icon 23 millimeters, but the icon until the 23rd has already 101 millimeters. So be careful those areas. And let's see, because I get the feeling that the Europeans kind of exaggerating some situations, but because it shows more than all the other models, especially in India, the GFS is the disturbance remaining in the ocean, just rain along the coast there, and the icon has like some heavy rain on the coast, but not as much as the European, and the excess that doesn't show that far north, but does show a little bit heavier, some spots of southeastern India and Sri Lanka. But the X is kind of like the European. It shows a lot as well. In the Maldives, shows more than 100 millimeters. So be careful in those areas. And let's see. And we'll try to have some videos out too. One more for Africa and in and Oceania too, because of that the heavy rain. But here, the rest of Indonesia shows somewhere Western Guinea, more than 100 millimeters, and even to Papua New Guinea. And yeah, so be careful those areas. And just for like showing the models here in India, so does show like the disturbance, the Bay of Bengal now. It goes the GFS passing very close and some showers in eastern India, Bangladesh into Myanmar, more in like the 21st to the 22nd Myanmar, but doesn't have as heavy overland like the European. The European does have that there, and those heavier showers in parts of eastern India, Bangladesh, then it goes, and it barely has much in Myanmar like the GFS. The Canadians, interesting too, shows more rain through eastern India, but not as much as well, and it doesn't go into Bangladesh, not Bangladesh, it doesn't go take all the way north to Myanmar like the GFS does as well. So will this like a wait and see situation, but I think you should be more concerned in around the coasts of eastern India with this heavy rain coming. So be careful, and also like some islands near Sumatra and the Bay of Bengal, be careful some downpours, and yeah, and if you're watching this now, be careful in the next 5 days in parts of Fiji and Australia. We'll make some more detailed videos there, but just to give you a heads up. And yeah, so let's see if this potential system might bring any wind towards the Philippines. So it's trying to form there. Shows more wind just north of it in the seas near the central northern Philippines. Shows some higher gusts in some spots and kilometers. So this goes Thursday, Friday. From this storm itself doesn't show that much, but does show some breezier conditions South China Sea. This goes there, shows more strong wind in the ocean, and the low pressure might be right there. Shows some higher gusts in Cheongsa. This goes Sunday into Monday and tries to form there, but no associated with the system, no crazy wind impacts as of now. But just be aware in case this does form, especially the higher chance in the South China Sea. And the icon, a similar thing, be aware those winds between Taiwan and China and the seas there in the southern islands of Japan and everything. And also sometimes a tiny bit breezier in some spots the Indian Ocean, and that's disturbance the Arabian Sea shows it moving there during the Maldives, but doesn't show it forming to anything crazy. And later on, the European the icon does have a disturbance the southern Indian Ocean again on the 23rd. Then this goes there, but doesn't really form into anything crazy. But better watch. The European barely has anything there. The GFS is like a small circulation there, the 24th, 25th, but it doesn't really form into anything. But what it does have is some heavier downpours in Madagascar around Christmas, like those thunderstorms there. So be aware. And yeah, so let's see like the accumulation of the Canadian model. So until the 23rd, the Canadian model also has close to like 90 to 100 millimeters the coast of eastern India. So be careful in that area. Some flooding concerns, and also southern Sri Lanka and the Maldives. It has a little bit heavier. The Western Pacific, it does have more than 100, even to like 200, 300 in some yellow spots in the Philippines. Most of northern central Malaysia, more than 100 millimeters, and some parts of Indonesia as well, the South China Sea. So be careful in those areas with flooding and stay safe from this potential system.